Welcome to Online Math. In this lesson, we're going to use Pythagoras' theorem to find the hypotenuse of a right-angled triangle. To understand what Pythagoras' theorem is about, we first need to know what right-angled triangles are. Now here, I have a triangle. And this one is called a right-angled triangle because I have a right angle here. The right angle is 90 degrees, and to show that it's a 90-degree angle, you use a marking, as you can see in the green line. So let's look at the triangles below. Where are the right angles? For the triangle on the right angle is right here, 90 degrees. For the triangle on the left, right angle is right on the bottom left. So we first know that these three triangles are right angle triangles. Now in a right angle triangle, the side that is opposite to the 90-degree angle, so for the large triangle over here, the side that is opposite to the right angle, this is called hypotenuse. And the hypotenuse is the longest side of a right angle triangle, and that is opposite to the right angle. With the triangles in the bottom, let's identify where the hypotenuse is. So starting with one on the left, we can see a right angle right here, and we know that the side opposite to the right angle is called hypotenuse. So this side would be called hypotenuse. So let's write hypotenuse, and I will call it C. Then I can call my base A and the other side B. With my triangle on the right, there is the right angle over here. So the side opposite to the right angle is called hypotenuse. So this long side here, so that is called hypotenuse. And I will call that C. And I can call one of the sides A and the other side B. So let's take a look at the example together. Here I have a right angle triangle. So step 1 is to label and identify the hypotenuse. I can see that there is a right angle right here. So the side opposite to the right angle would be called the hypotenuse. So this is my hypotenuse, and I'm going to give it a letter called C. And I can call my base of this triangle A and the other side of the triangle B. So I've labeled my three sides of the triangle. Now what does the Pythagoras theorem say? It says C squared equals to A squared plus B squared. And look at the question. The question says, find the length of the hypotenuse in the given right angle triangle. So I'm looking for my hypotenuse C. So this is what I'm looking for. I'm going to use this formula, fill in the values for A and B so that I can figure out what C equals to, because my C is the hypotenuse, and the question asks me to find the length of the hypotenuse. So let's start to fill in the information that we know. We don't know what C is because that's what you're looking for. And as you know from the diagram given to us over here, hypotenuse has no value yet, and that's what we're looking for. So I'm going to leave C squared as it is. A squared, I've labeled 12 as A. So I'm going to write 12 for A. And the squared plus B is 5, so 5 squared. Then I will do my calculation that is on the right-hand side of the equation. So use your calculator and say 12 squared plus 5 squared, and that equals to 169. And this is equal to C squared. Now, I'm not looking for C squared. I am looking for just the value of the hypotenuse, which is just C. So we need to do one more step from here because at the moment this is c squared equals to 169. So I need to get rid of this squared. How can I get rid of this so that I am left with just a c? We need to do the opposite of squaring a number, which is to square root the number. So we will go ahead and square root both sides of the equation. So square root c squared, square root 169. The square root of c squared is equal to c, and the square root of 169, so you've got to think of the two numbers that will multiply to give you 169. And what's the answer? The answer is 13 times 13 will give you 169, and so 13 squared is equal to 169, and therefore the square root of 169 equals to 13. Now, this isn't complete yet because we need to find the length of the hypotenuse, so we've got to include the unit. Notice that the two sides are using centimeters, so I have to say c equals to 13 centimeters. So the hypotenuse of this triangle here, this side, is 13 centimeters. Let's look at a few more examples together. So the top triangle right here, this is a right angle triangle. There is a right angle right over here. One side is 4 centimeters long and the other one is 3 centimeters long. And this slanted line here, this side, we don't have a value for it yet. So this is what we're looking for. So step 1 is to label the sides. So where is the right angle? Right angle is right here. And so the side opposite to the right angle is called hypotenuse. So we know that this is hypotenuse. And we're going to call that C. And we can call one of the sides A and the other side B. So I can choose to call 4 centimeters A and 3 centimeters B, or call 3 centimeters A and call 4 centimeters B. And either way will work just fine. So I'll just start with the top. So I'll call 4 centimeters A and 3 centimeters B. Then next step is to write out the Pythagoras theorem. It says to find the hypotenuse C, we have to say C squared equals to A squared plus B squared, and start to fill in the values that we know for A and B in order to find the value of C. So C squared equals to A, we called 4A here, so we're going to say 4 squared, and B was 3, so we'll have to say 3 squared, and calculate. So what is 4 squared plus 3 squared? It is equal to 25. Now, some of you may choose to use a calculator, or some of you may want to use mental math. And if you are using mental math, how you get 25 is 4 squared. 4 squared is equal to 4 times 4, and that is equal to 16. And 3 squared is equal to 3 times 3, and so that is 9. And this is how you get 25. Now, C squared, if you leave it like this, it is incomplete because we're not looking for a C squared, we're looking for C. So you need to get rid of this squared. So how do you get rid of the squared? You need to square root both sides. So square root both sides, and so square root of C squared is equal to C. Square root of 25 is equal to 5. So C, the hypotenuse, is equal to 5 centimeters. With our next triangle, we have 7 centimeters and 5 centimeters as the two sides, and we have the missing length. Here is the 90-degree angle, the right angle, and so the opposite of right angle makes hypotenuse. So we know that this side here is called a hypotenuse, and we're going to call that C. I'm going to call 7 centimeters A, and I'm going to call 5 centimeters B. Once I have my A, B, C labeled, I can write out my Pythagoras theorem, which is c squared equals to a squared plus b squared. I'm looking for my hypotenuse c, so write c squared and fill in the information that you know. So a is equal to 7, b is equal to 5. So a squared is 7 squared and b squared is 5 squared. Now using the calculator or using mental math if you like, if you calculate 7 squared plus 5 squared, you're going to get 74. So c squared equals to 74. Now I'm looking for my hypotenuse c, so you need to square root the c squared, square root c squared to get rid of the squared. And when you do square root, you need to square root both sides. So let's write square root of c squared equals to square root of 74. So now my square root of c squared gives me just c. And what is square root of 74? Now, those of you who are using a calculator and working on this problem with me, you'll find that the square root of 74 equals to a decimal number. And that is because 74 is not a square number. So for example, with the question above, 25 was a square number. So when you square root a square number, you end up with a very nice whole number like this. But 74 is not a square number. So when you square root a number that is not a square number, you will end up with a decimal. And the square root of 74 will equal to 8.6023 and so on. So if the question asks you to round your answer to 1 decimal place, you can do that. Or if the question is asking you to round your answer to 2 decimal places, then you'll have to do that. With my question here, let's say that I would like you to round the answer to 1 decimal place. If we're doing that, then it's going to be 8.6 centimeter. I hope you found today's lesson on using Pythagoras theorem to find hypotenuse of right angle triangles helpful. Like and subscribe for more videos. Thank you for watching and I will see you next time.